After he did this with the prophets of Baal and the true God, the Lord, answered by fire, all of the prophets of Baal were killed. 450 killed. Jezebel, Ahab's wife, said to Elijah, she sent the servant saying, yo, may the gods do to me whatever they want if by tomorrow I don't make your life like the life of my prophets you just killed. Now, Elijah had a heart for God. He broke out. He ran, right? He's like, oh, shoot, they're coming after me. But when God said, like, God caught up with Elijah, because where can you run from God, right? Everywhere you run, he is. So you're running to him while you're running from him. So Elijah running, God says, Elijah, why are you running? Look at 1 Kings chapter 19 and around verse 9. We're going to stay in the same couple chapters before we get out of here. We're not going too far. 1 Kings chapter 19 verse 9. He runs into a cave. He's lodging in the cave. And behold, the word of the Lord came to him and said, what are you doing here, Elijah? Now, we can get caught up in the fact that you ran, but we'll talk about that in a second. But let's get caught up in his answer. When I was a young buck, I was 17, 18. When I read this verse, it grabbed my heart, and I have not been able to let go since. His answer is this. Elijah, why are you running? He says, I have been very jealous for the Lord, the God of hosts. The people have forsaken you. They've thrown down your idols. They've killed your prophets. But me, Lord, I've been jealous for you. What does that mean to be jealous for God? To have a heart for God. To feel for God. Like, he don't need you feeling for him, but what does it say about your heart when you feel what he feels? You ever be watching a TV show and they make some lewd joke and they bring God into their joke and you feel for God like, wait a minute, this is the glory of the Lord. Or you're watching some talk show, maybe some talk show that comes on every day around 4 o'clock. I don't know. And the host says something that's really like against the glory of the Lord. And you say to yourself, wait a minute, she or he, I don't know. Like, that ain't the glory of God. And you feel something for God. Elijah said, Lord, your people who should be faithful to you are cheating on you, and I'm jealous for you. That's like your girlfriend getting cheated on by her boyfriend come around, and you don't even speak to him. And he like, what you doing? I ain't cheating on you. But you're like, no, but that's my girl. I feel for her. Elijah said, no, Lord, I'm jealous for you. That made Elijah the man in God's sight. You ain't got to feel for me. I'm God. Yet you feel for me. You see how my creation is treating me. You see how my people are treating me. You see how good I am to them. I'm a loving father. I'm a great husband. And they dipping on me. And you feel for me. Elijah said, Lord, you know I've been very jealous for you. And God didn't front on him like, no, you haven't. God was like, yeah, you're right. You have. That made Elijah the man. So another thing that makes the first generation, that first runner, somebody you want to look up to is, do they have a heart for God? Are they feeling for what God is feeling? There's sometimes when the older generation, there's some things they don't want to allow because they're feeling for God. They want his glory. There's one thing, though, that kind of makes Elijah, it sort of makes you say, but, all right? Elijah, the third thing about him, he had a very human side. Very human side, okay? For some reason, God does not mind showing us how human people are in the Bible. Pick the person, and you'll see something about them that makes you say, dang, I don't want to be like him. Like, he was tripping. Elijah was tripping a little bit, right? You just called down the fire of God to consume a sacrifice where 450 prophets could not pull off the same feat. A queen says, oh, I'm going to kill you. And now you're running scared. Like, he's human. He's human. He runs into a cave and he's hiding. He's human. But there's something else that makes him human. Two more things. 3 times Elijah says something that was not entirely true. A prophet of the Lord came to Elijah and said, you a prophet like me? Have you heard what I did? When Jezebel was trying to kill the prophets of the Lord, I hid 100 of them in a cave by 50s. 50 in this cave, 50 in that cave. They still hiding it, right? The Lord even told Elijah, I got 7,000 people who've not bowed the knee to Baal. But Elijah says 3 times in the midst of all that, only I am left of your prophets. You're like, wait a minute. Dude just told you there's 100 of them in a cave. The Lord got 7,000 stashed. But for some reason, you're the only one. Sometimes the older generation kind of starts getting that sense of, I'm the only one left. I'm the only one still doing it God's way. Even when, not really. Like, there's some other people that are holding it down for the Lord. Elijah's human side is showing up. I'm running when I shouldn't be running. I'm scared when I shouldn't be. And I got this complex that tells me I'm the only one that's still kind of holding it down for the Lord. One more thing about his human side before we go to Elisha, the second runner. This is a little crazy. Go to 2 Kings. Flip a couple pages. 2 Kings. First chapter. What does your heart and mind do when you hear this account? We're spending time on Elijah, and we're going to breeze through Elisha, but it's all going to make sense in a second. Y'all there? 2 Kings chapter 1, around verse 9. The king Ahab is now sending people to try to find Elijah. Elijah's been on the run. Ahab is sending people to try to find him. So here's what happened. The king sent to Elijah a captain of 50 men with his 50 men. So this is an army, a squad coming out to get him. They went up to Elijah, who was sitting on the top of a hill, and they said, "O man of God, the king says, come down. We ain't going to hurt you, just come on down." And Ahab was really not going to hurt him. Ahab was not that type when it came to Elijah. Jezebel was. "O man of God, come on down." But Elijah answered and said, "If I am a man of God, then let fire come down from heaven and consume you and your 50 men. Well, he was a man of God, because fire came down from heaven and consumed the captain and his 50 men. Now, when you first hear that, you're like, okay, why'd you do that? But let's see. Again, the king sent to him another captain of 50 with his 50 men. And he answered and said to him, "O man of God, the king's order, come down quickly." But Elijah said, "If I'm really a man of God, then let fire come down and consume you and your 50. Then the fire of God came down and consumed him and his 50. What's going on here? Again, the king sent the captain of a third 50 with his 50. And the third captain of 50 went up, and he was a little smarter, or maybe a little more scared. He said, he didn't just go up like, "Yo, man of God." He came up and he fell on his knees before Elijah and entreated him, "O man of God, please let my life and the life of these 50 servants of yours." Now, we the king's men, but now we your men, all right? "Please let my life and the life of these 50 servants of yours be precious in your sight. Behold, fire came down from heaven and consumed the 2 former captains of 50 men with their 50s. But now let my life be precious in your sight." Now, we don't know what Elijah was going to do there, but God did. So here's what happened. The angel of the Lord said to Elijah, "Go down with him. Do not be afraid." So he rose up and he went down. I don't want to read too much into that, but what I will say is there's something about Elijah and the state of mind that he's in right now. As that first runner, I feel like my time is coming to a close here, where he begins to be frightful, fearful, and in his fear,